The FBI must stop. Calls to defund the FBI are just as wrong as calls to defund the police.
Joining me now is Tucker Carlson, host of Tucker Carlson Tonight and Tucker Carlson Originals on Fox Nation. We're going to talk about that in a moment. His latest docuseries, Cattle Mutilations, is available now. Tucker, we're going to get into the new series in just a minute, but first, your reaction to Mike Pence. Does he kind of risk falling into that very predictable media narrative about criticizing the FBI, or everyone who works at the FBI beyond reproach here? What's going on?
What is Mike Pence doing in New Hampshire? I mean, if Mike Pence doesn't have a summer house in New Hampshire, then he's delusional. I mean, Mike Pence is a very nice guy, or seems like a nice guy, but he spent 4 years getting bossed around by Donald Trump like a concubine. He was bossed around by his donors when he was governor of Indiana. He's not in a position to lead anything. I think he probably has useful years left in him, and I think he has probably something to add, perhaps. He probably has grandchildren, too. But the idea that he's going to run for president is like delusional, and it's clearly only benefiting his consultants. And he should fire anyone who's telling him to go to New Hampshire and run for president and give dumb speeches about the FBI when he has no idea what he's talking about. So, yeah, it's super embarrassing. I don't want to beat up on Mike Pence, but I mean, get some. If you're that detached from reality, you need to take a break and think deeply about yourself and the world.
Yeah,
I would say.
Yeah, whether it's Pence or someone else like Pence or anyone talking about this, isn't there a need for reform in the deep state?
It's insane.
I mean, are we not supposed to do that as conservatives? What's happening?
It's deranged. You can't have a democracy if federal agencies are openly interfering in elections. Okay? It's that simple. It's not just the FBI. It's certainly the intel agencies whose former directors are on Twitter declaring war against the American population. This is out of control. It's scary. And I know everyone talks about defending democracy, but if you actually wanted to defend democracy, which is a system of self-government, you would push back against government agencies trying to affect election outcomes, which is what they're doing. This is nuts. And I guess Mike Pence in New Hampshire doesn't see it.
Well, a journalist for the Financial Times today, Tucker, tweeted that I've covered extremism and violent ideologies around the world over my career, have never come across a political force more nihilistic, dangerous, and contemptible than today's Republicans. Nothing close. To which former CIA Director Michael Hayden, of course, deep state extraordinaire, replies, I agree. And I was the CIA director. So, Tucker, doesn't that kind of give, good cause for Republicans to think maybe the deep state's putting the finger on the scales against conservative people as domestic terrorists?
You think? So what Michael Hayden is saying, Michael Hayden authorized assassinations of people around the world, but none of the people he had murdered were as evil as the Republicans, the tens of millions of Republicans in the United States. Like, what the hell are you saying? What the hell are you saying, Michael Hayden? This is a true threat to self-government. Heads of intel agencies should not talk this way. They should not wish for or declare war against their own population. Like, this is totally nuts. And Republican leaders, Mitch McConnell and Mike Pence, who can't see this, should move on and do something useful, really.
Yeah, how could you ever talk about defunding any of these agencies? I love that. It's always the holy grail, defunding. Like, you can never touch the budgets of the Pentagon or deep state. Tucker, I want to turn to your new Fox Nation docuseries called Cattle Mutilations. And I want to apologize to anyone who's watching on the West Coast who may be eating dinner at this point. But here's a clip. Watch.
Over the past 40 years, more than 10,000 animals across the United States have been inexplicably killed in very strange ways. The phenomenon is called cattle mutilation. It's cost ranchers millions of dollars. Cases range from mysterious to completely bizarre. Animals drained of their blood, strange lights over cows, body parts with no commercial value surgically removed. Despite federal, state, and local investigations into this, the government has consistently failed to identify a culprit, to solve these crimes, or even to explain what might be happening. So we took up the case ourselves.
Okay, Tucker, without spoiling it all, I'm such an animal lover. What in God's name is going on? Is this some kind of satanic ritual? Is there something else?
No.
What'd you uncover?
It's not a satanic ritual. This has been going on for hundreds of years in countries around the world. A huge number of animals have been killed, enough that the FBI has initiated 2 investigations into this in the past 50 years. This is a real thing. We don't know what's causing it. It's clearly not the U.S. government. And these animals are being killed in ways that people who slaughter animals for a living and butcher them couldn't replicate. And then the carcasses are not touched by predators. The whole thing is unbelievably weird. Again, not speculating as to the cause of this, only confirming that it's absolutely real. It's not some wild conspiracy theory. It's been documented over many, many decades, and no one has yet explained it. And I feel like the purpose of journalism is to bring to public attention things that are significant and undercovered, and this checks both those boxes.
Well, some of the people who've also studied this are pointing to an extraterrestrial involvement, perhaps, or at least asking the question: is that out of the realm of possibility here?
It's a pretty obvious conclusion, actually. I mean, it's hard to see what else the explanation would be. The more you know about this subject, the more you think, well, wait a second, why isn't everybody talking about this? This is happening right now, this summer, and every summer. And again, not just in the United States, but around the world. Animals in remote places, slaughtered, drained of their blood, injected with some kind of anticoagulant, and body parts deep within their bodies removed in a way that can't be replicated by surgeons or butchers. Like, what? I can't speculate as to why this is happening. We can't know who is doing it, but we know that it is happening, and it's kind of shocking as far as I'm concerned.
Tucker, this is wild. I can't wait to watch. It's great to see you. Thanks for staying up for us tonight.
It's great to see you. Oh, man, it's my honor. Thank you, Laura.
All right, Tucker, thanks so much. All right, up next.